Hello everybody, welcome back to Chachi the Plumber. Today we're replacing this cracked Kohler toilet. And now my friends, I despise this toilet because if you look above on where you flush this toilet, it pulls up rather than from the sides. And just connecting this flapper's chain is a job. So I'm happy we're saying goodbye to this toilet. The fill valve was also leaking, so the main problem was the toilet kept on running. So this lady was like, alright, can we fix that? And then there was a crack on her toilet, so she was like, alright, you know what? Let's just get a new toilet. So first things first, we're going to shut the water off at the straight valve coming up, and we're going to disconnect the supply going to the toilet. Now with that out of the way, we're ready to pop open those caps and unscrew these Johnny bolts. Luckily, these Johnny bolts screwed out fairly easily. I didn't have to pry it with the screwdriver because the screw underneath was spinning, and it happened on both sides. They both came out fairly easily, so I was happy for that. But I have a special tool, a special prying tool, just in case something like that happens. Now we're going to lift with our legs, not with our back, and we're going to lift this toilet straight up. We're going to put it on our drop cloth, just so it doesn't get any wax all over the place. And obviously some wax stayed on the flange and some wax stayed on the toilet. Now this was on the second floor, so I'm going to stick a sponge in here, and me and Carlos, we're going to bring this toilet down to the garage, because when the homeowner supplies a toilet, we do not discard it. They must discard it, so we brought it down to the lady's garage. And now we're going to clean up all the excess wax, all that excess plaster with my scraping tool. Now with my channel locks, I'm going to take these Johnny bolts out. I usually do this with my hands, but I had no gloves on and I wasn't really in the mood to be touching this because this was my last call and I wanted to keep my hands clean. As you can see, there's some buildup. There's some fecal matter up in that drain, and I mean the toilet's doing its job. That's what it's used for. So we're gonna put a deep wax seal on, a regular standard size, and then we're gonna grab our plaster of Paris. We're gonna do about a little more than halfway filling up this empty can. And now that it's filled up, we're gonna put some water in there and get this ready to go. Now I just learned that plaster of Paris is basically all silica, so you don't want to be breathing this stuff in. You should be wearing a mask, but you know, you get used to it and you get the hang of it. Not getting the hang of getting it in your nostrils, but you get the hang of, you know, avoiding the dust. Avoid breathing through your mouth while you're doing this, you know, not breathing too much through your nose. And then once it's all mixed up and once it's all liquefied, all the dust should be gone, and you should be good to go to start breathing normally again. Now if you really want to be careful, you could throw a mask on or do this outside, but you know, after doing this for the 1000th time, you get pretty good at it. So we're gonna grab some toilet paper and we're just gonna clean up around the area, around this beautiful tile that this lady has in her bathroom. Okay, I mean, I think this bathroom's like honestly half the size of my house, so you want to be careful. We're gonna put some plaster of Paris down. Now the reason why we do this, some people don't like doing this, but this really does help solidify the toilet to the ground, getting rid of that rocking. I like to use a small scraper for the sides and just to put a little bit in the back, but the main focus is in the front. Put the most in the front and you should be good to go. Now some people say, oh, you know, if it's gonna leak, you want to be able to see the leak. But with this plaster of Paris, we do allow little areas for if it were to start leaking, the water could still has a place to escape. Now we're gonna lift the toilet up with our legs, not our back, and we're gonna squeeze the toilet down, make sure it's straight, make sure it's really down up on there, and it looks good. Looks good for the eye. And now we're gonna grab our caps make sure you put these bottom pieces on first so the caps could click into place, and then the bolts that the Johnny bolts came with. So we're gonna screw these on. Now I have gotten some criticism with using these plastic Johnny bolts, but honestly, these things are great, and I have no problems with them ever, and they last honestly longer than the brass ones, and they cut a lot easier too. The only thing about them is when you're tightening them up with your channel locks, you don't want to tighten up too much, because I have had the instance where I tightened it a bit too much and it either broke the flange or the Johnny bolt broke, which is a real pain in the butt. So then you gotta lift it up, figure out if you broke the flange. Hopefully you broke just the Johnny bolt, and in that case, if you just broke the Johnny bolt, it's obviously annoying because you gotta lift it up, get a new pair of Johnny bolts, maybe even a new deep wax seal, and you gotta reset it with plaster again. Oh, it's no good. So I like doing 10, 7, 5, 3, and it's tight, it's good. Now we're gonna hook up the supply. We're gonna take that sticker off. I don't know why they put those stickers on. I know what a 12-inch supply is, I know what a 16-inch supply is, and I know what a 20-inch supply is, so that's for you homeowners out there. You guys use that sticker. We're gonna tighten it up. The top one, we're just gonna tighten it up by hand. The bottom piece, obviously, we're gonna tighten it with a pair of baby channel locks, and then we're gonna turn the water on. Now with the water on, oh wait, don't forget, tighten up your packing nut. If you learn anything from me, tighten up your packing nut when you open up your valve when it's halfway open, because that could be dripping all day long. Now we're gonna add a nice little finish with plaster of Paris. Just on the side, we're gonna wipe it around, and it really just adds a nice touch to the toilet. I really enjoy doing this. It makes it look good. Oh, but Chachi, look at that mess. I think I'm gonna leave it like this, boy. This is why we turn the water on, because the plaster of Paris dissolves like butter when it touches water. So, you know, you just rinse your hand in this clean, brand new toilet bowl, and then you give it a nice wipe, a gentle wipe with a wet sponge, not too wet, but you know, a little wet. And you just scrape it all up, and it looks beautiful. And then flush the toilet when the water gets a little murky from the plaster of Paris. And like I said, this disinfects the toilet in no negative way. It is 100% harmful free. So don't be worried when you see your plumber dumping this plaster of Paris in your bowl. It dissolves. Okay, so it adds a nice little texture to the toilet. Now we're gonna grab our hacksaw. We're gonna take these bolts apart so we can put the cap on. And when you do cut this, I do like to tighten it up a little bit more, because when you do break them apart, the bolts could loosen up a little bit. So we're gonna tighten it up a little bit. This is usually where people snap the bolts, so you don't want to do too much. You gotta have a sort of feel for it. And now we're gonna get the tank seat on. Don't forget the two rubber plastic pieces that sit in there. And there's Carlos putting in the toilet seat. Good. Good. Now we're gonna get the caps on, and we should be good to go. We're gonna give the toilet a nice little flush, and of course, we're gonna give the classic Chachi the Plumber thumbs up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe.